I mean, I'd like to think of there being a light at the end of the tunnel, but right now I'm kind of just stuck in the tunnel. I don't really see a light at the end.
She was really, really fun to be around. She was always like the life of the party.
There's something about Nicole that's very, draws you in. She's very positive.
We just had a lot of stuff in common, a lot of the same sense of humor.
Just being around her is just so gratifying. She is absolutely a star.
When I think about myself, I think of myself as a very hard worker, someone who's very motivated. I love design, I always have. When I was 10 years old, my grandma introduced me to interior design. She's a real estate agent, and I would always look at her design magazines and we would watch BBC design shows, and I've been hooked on it since I was 10.
I first met Nicole in September of 2013. She came recommended by one of our employees as a possible designer, and she came and interviewed and we hired her immediately. I could see that she could go, a long way with our company.
Design is important to me because I like the idea about changing somebody's lifestyle. It's not just making something pretty, it's changing the way that somebody's been living. That impacts people's lives for sure.
Nicole was exceptional as an employee. Positive and professional and young, with this kind of breath of fresh air that we used to say that about her.
I did anything from answering the phone, taking leads when people would call and say, I have a bathroom that I want to remodel and they're interviewing different contractors. I'd go and meet with them. I'd do a field measurement. I would do the existing plans, the proposed plans, permit plans, all the furniture and finishing specifications. I do everything, meeting the client at the tile shop, everything from start to finish.
We actually had thought she'd be with us for a long time. She had said a number of times, this is where I want to be. She's more, and I'm getting emotional, but more like a daughter to us than, as an employee, but also a daughter. So she actually called us and said, there's an opportunity for Nicole to take this, to interview for this job with Samuel Heath. They're extremely high-end plumbing manufacturer out of England. I remember my husband took the call and he said, he just kind of shook his head and he said, I can't stop her. I can't deny her this opportunity.
And Jeff and Adele could have just kept it to themselves, but they told me about it and I was really excited about it.
We knew that this was a trajectory that wasn't just, you didn't know where the end of it was going to be. It was a great opportunity.
I remember she was just so excited. She was just so stoked. This is like what she had been like working toward. And this was like her dream job. This was everything that she had ever wanted since like she started going to school for interior design.
I don't think I've ever been so excited to get a job, also because it took so long to lock down the position. It was about 2 months of interviews and I was very excited.
But she called me and I could just tell by her voice that she was really excited, and she like told me, she was like, guess what? And I was like, did you get the job? And she was like, yeah, I did. And she was just, I don't know, just so happy, and like her happiness is always like really infectious, and it made me super happy, and she deserved it. She worked so hard and she really deserved that job.
I was in shock to hear that this happened, and I couldn't understand how you're standing in front of your house minding your own business, and it's the worst. And so so many things go through your mind of the shock, and then at that point, not knowing if she would live. I will never forget that day. That was pretty scary.
I don't know, it felt like my world had ended. Because we didn't know, I didn't know if she was going to be okay. They didn't know the extent of her injuries, and it was really hard to just not know what was going to happen and if she was going to be okay or if she was going to be the same.
A week or so afterwards, they fused her spine, and that there's a 1% chance that she'd walk again.
I didn't get to go see her actually for a week or two. I think it was about a week after she was first admitted to the hospital. She was really out of it. She was on a lot of painkillers.
I didn't realize that I was paralyzed. People would be visiting me and I would say, "Why can't I feel my legs?" And nobody could answer me.
It hadn't really clicked with her, I think, what had happened and the extent of her injuries.
It was mostly confusion. That was the hardest thing to wrap my head around, was just the unknown. I remember somebody telling me, I think it was one of the nurses telling me why I was in the hospital and that I was paralyzed and that it was from a hit and run. That was probably the worst feeling I've ever felt. And after I realized that I was paralyzed, it was a long period of time to be stuck in the hospital and retraining your body and learning how to adapt to the majority of your body not functioning anymore. Looking at them not working is the worst torture. Seeing what you have, but it just won't work anymore.
This young girl, why would she have this happen to her? How unfair is this? This is the worst. And this person who's got nothing but the rest of her life, a fabulous life ahead of her.
So when I first got home from the hospital, it was awful because I needed so much help doing anything, just literally anything. I've always enjoyed being alone and having quiet time and doing things independently, and not even being able to go to the bathroom on my own. This is the hardest. Yeah, it was a very difficult adjustment, but you kind of just are forced to accept it.
It was the end of September that I became Nicole's roommate. I was coming a couple days a week to help her out, and then just slowly I started coming more and more, and then I ended up just moving in and helping her full time.
She signed up through IHSS to be an official caretaker for me. But we've been friends for 12 years, and so emotionally and physically she was there for me.
In the beginning, she needed a lot of care. She still does. So I do laundry, helping her with transfers, helping her get dressed and putting on her shoes, getting undressed, helping her in the shower, cooking, laundry, changing her sheets, walking her dog, doing gardening, and everything that she could do before herself that she can't do now.
Pretty much, she's a superwoman.
And I told her, your friends are 25 and 30, they're young, they're doing their thing. I said, I'm here for you. We've kind of created this bond of that we're the cosmic mother and daughter. I communicate with her almost every day. And then once a week, I always drive her to one of her physical therapy appointments. It's like a 5-hour round trip, an hour to get there, hour back, 3 hours in physical therapy. I'm seeing this progress and how hard she works. So that's why I know it's not like, oh, I'm bored because I'm sitting here. It's like every day there's a struggle, there's a pressure sore, there's a backache, there's something that she has to deal with. That it amazes me. It amazes me the patience getting out of bed, just going to the bathroom, just taking a shower is a big deal. It's an exhausting situation. Obviously, her career has been cut down. It's like that's the career that she envisioned for herself is over.
Right now, there's no way she could do the work she was doing at Samuel Heath now. It would just be, like, it would just be too much. Like, the traveling especially, and just the stress of the job.
That career is gone now. So it's pretty awful. It's a pretty awful feeling to know how many years I've spent working to get to a certain spot and have it taken away immediately. I don't know what my future holds for me, because everything that I've worked for my entire life, I can't do anymore. And so it's depressing. I feel worthless is a harsh word, but miserable is not an exaggeration of my mental state. I just don't know. I don't know what to do.
Her physicality, she worked out, she ran 11 miles the week before she was hit. Those things are all taken away from her. There's like not the confidence that she had before.
I really can't relate to anybody because I'm in the body of an 80-year-old person now. And so my lifestyle is a lot different than other 26-year-olds.
She was always so independent, didn't need help from anybody, now needs help with the smallest thing. And that's always, I don't know, really broke my heart.
I can't go out and dance. I can't go to the beach. I can't do things that I used to do. I can't even work anymore.
She'll never be that girl in the textured stockings that men are just turning around, you know, she lost that part of her youth, you know.
It's just like that old saying, you don't know what you have until it's gone. I'm a 26-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body. Sorry, getting really emotional.